All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome back to another episode of the Wives Club. We have a very, very special, I won't even call her a guest. You all know Lou Casely. She's a moderator on the Kevin Samuels channel. I am Maggie. You may know me as Maggie, the substitute teacher for my cooking channel. But in 2021, I booked a session with the late, great Kevin Samuels. Not for me. It was because I had a conviction about the older women teaching the young. And so we started responding to his videos in the Patreon, went from the Patreon to the mix, from the mix to YouTube. And here we are. Lucy, please introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you.
Hello there, I am Lucy, also known as Lou Casely, and my new channel's name is Lucy Over 50, and I'm going to have a rebranding of my channel. I think I spoke to that on our last week on our Ask Us Anything session, but on the first, I think I might have a live. I'm still trying to convince my husband to see if I can have a live on that. So you guys, most of you know how that works. But yes, my channel mostly is based on teaching Spanish, and from time to time I would sprinkle some topics about femininity, elegance, modern women issues. So yes, and I am so happy that I met Maggie through TLA, I think it was, and through Kevin Samuels's I don't know, knowledge and team of folks that worked with them. That's how we got together. And one time she said that she was thinking about creating a finishing school for women. And then I said, "Oh, you know what? My degree was in teaching, so I know how to write curriculum." And she goes, "Oh, I'm going to contact you." I thought it was going to be, she was going to contact me a week or so after. No, it was the minute the session ended, I had that email and it all started, and here we are.
Absolutely, here we are. So, like Lucy said, she needs to make sure her husband is in line with what she wants to do. And we listen to the men here. So, we are going to keep these streams for you all right to the point, an hour or less. So, thank you all for joining us. So, what are we doing tonight? So, every week in the Wives Club, we react to Kevin Samuels' content. Even though he is no longer with us, he left quite the catalog of relationship content for us to respond to. And this is actually a viewer request. Someone requested that we respond to his video, Why Does Image Matter So Much? So, if you all didn't know him, Kevin Samuels was a professional image consultant by trade, and that's what he did for men and for women and for corporate. But then it also parlayed into the relationship advice he would give. So, as always, we've linked the Kevin Samuels episode that we're responding to in the description so you can listen to the whole thing. I'll give you a little synopsis, and then I have 4 points that I am going to cover that he talked about in this episode. So, this episode, Kevin was talking primarily to the men, and he was giving a case study about a young man who went out for an experiment in 2 different types of clothing. The first time he went out in a suit, and he described how he was treated by, whether it was bus driver, restaurant, whatnot. He kind of documented that experience. Then the next week, the same young man went out wearing street clothes, kind of sweats, and just being very casual. And then he documented how he was treated in that appearance. Kevin also talked about an old film that depicted people of color, specifically Black people, in a way that the author thought that, oh, this is my experience, so this is the experience. And so he talked about a lot in this episode, the importance of your own media and how you show up and why image matters. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about four things that Kevin mentioned in this episode: A, B, C, and D. The A was for appearance. The B is behavior. The C is communication, and the D is digital footprint. So let's see who we have in the chat, and then Lucy and I will will give you our take on these four things. We love to hear what you all have to say. As always, I'll drop the link in case you want to talk to us, camera on or camera off, and then we will let you have your evening. We've got Lisa White in the house. There she is. We have Femme Gems for you. She says, "Hi, I'm that viewer. Thank you so much for requesting." She says, "I love all the work that you do for us ladies who are big on our self-improvement and becoming the best versions of ourselves. Thank you for this." So yes, this is for you, Femme Gems for you. So she left us a comment, and I've done the work, and Lucy and I are ready to give you our take. So before we get started, Lucy, did you have anything you wanted to share in specific about this episode or image in general?
I think one of the things that Kevin Samuels had that was one of his gifts is how he put the the history together. He talked about initially about the birth of a nation concept and how I wrote, believe it or not, okay, you do believe. Here are my notes from watching Maggie, and most of you know that I do take notes. He talked about how people asked whether the person D.W. Griffith was considered a racist or was it considered something else, and what the final conclusion about the creator of that movie was that he was a careless thinker who fell hard for others' ideas. And that goes back, and he talked about the concept of being not being so um, quick to jump to conclusions, to do your research before the you hear things in the media and how it's presented to you, because again um, there are other powers that are trying to sell an image um, by design. So I think it's very important to, again, take a look at the ABCs of an image, and we're going to get into it and how the media has created that concept of creating something to make money and to maybe change somebody's perception about something without even knowing the reality of it all.
That is so true, ladies. And, hopefully we'll give you our specifics, but hopefully after today's stream, you'll start to have an awareness about the image that represents you. And just ask yourself as you're out and about, is this who I am? Or is this what people say I am? Because there is definitely an incentive for others to tell the story that they want to tell. So that was the drumbeat of this episode. I highly recommend you watch it. And Lucy's right, the birth of a nation was one person's viewpoint, but it caught like wildfire after the post-Reconstruction South and was even viewed in the White House. Why does that matter? It just means that someone's version of the truth can be taken as the gospel, if you will. And if there's nothing to combat that, then people will start to treat you in a way that they think you are. So we're going to talk about the ABCDs of image, but that was the point that Kevin was driving home, as well as us supporting and uplifting each other and not tearing each other down. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the communication side. But, Kevin, one of the things that he said on and over again, I don't beef, because he understood the value of image. And when you disparage someone, it's not just, oh, I'm coming to rant and get this off of my chest. All of us have a personal brand. Whether you know it or not, the way you show up says something about you. So let's get into it. What does Femme Gem say? The first motion picture cinematics. This was the first image of black men. Oh yes, shown in the White House. So So that is the narrow view, which is very true, but let's see how we can learn from this. Let's take that 30,000-foot view and think about how it applies to today, and how, we are here for the older women to teach the young, and what the image of young women and modern women is today. Okay, so Kevin was the king of acronyms. So A, B, C, D. Let's start with the A. The A was for appearance. And ladies, appearance matters. I told Lucy, I was like, oh, she looks so nice. I have the Wives Club t-shirt on, but it's short sleeve. So I put a little jacket on. But ladies, the way that we show up is very important. I was talking to my mentor earlier today. Shout out to you, Katrinda. And she said that it's amazing that even in professional situations, she has to have conversations with women about, what do you think it says about you when you have a different hairstyle every week? And you may think, oh, I just want to express myself. I like different colors. I like different styles. But from the outside looking in, does that show stability or does that show chaos? And if you want to be considered for a relationship or be seen as a wife, because like we say in the Wives Club, it's always open to women who are either currently married, formerly married, or want to be married. But how we show up speaks volumes before you say anything. So ladies, I would ask you to do a head to toe assessment. Sometimes, the truth is just the truth. It may hurt, but having that awareness, and that's one of the things that Lucy and I talk about. Sometimes we just get into this, comfortable way of living. Well, I like it, or, I'm comfortable, or, I don't see anything wrong with it. That's okay. That's an option. Y'all know me. If you want to stay in the state that you're in, but if you want to be considered for serious relationship or marriage, you have to understand that you are going to be the feminine asset to his masculine brand. And so if you look at the man that you have or the man that you want to have, and you look at the men that are around him, his peers, what do their wives or significant others look like? And you can say, well, I don't want to be, just another whatever. That's fine. But it's just, my point is that it's not an accident. It's not happenstance that people associate with others that they feel comfortable with. So if you want to come in and all eyes on you, okay. Or if you want to actually be a little bit understated, more modest, and let your character and your quality shine through, appearance can go a long way, or it can hurt you. So that was my first point on A, appearance. What would you say, Lucy?
Excellent, excellent thoughts. And I also think that it's also part of the consistency. Our significant others, our employers, or anybody that's part of our relationship group, they want to see some type of consistency. You want to show that you're consistent in your appearance and what you say it, how you move around. And again, that question about, if they see you coming with different hairstyles hair types every week, what are they going to think about consistency? What are they going to think about, if you have a husband, does he trust that you're going to be consistent on your behavior if he ever leaves you with the board of directors while he goes out and does his business on the other side? So I guess that's a really, really important thing to think about. Be consistent on the way you appear to others.
I love that. And so, ladies, we love to give you some tangible things that you can do. Now, there's lots of resources now. There's, of course, the internet. I've had to hire a stylist. There are professionals that do this work, but the takeaway for appearance, you want to work on some type of either capsule wardrobe or uniform, or something that represents either who you are or where you want to be. And you may have some things in that appearance bucket that, yep, I've got this nailed down. And then you may have some things that are like, oh, yeah, I need to work on that area. But do an assessment, enhance the things that you do well, and then work on the things that you don't. So The goal ultimately is consistency. That is the takeaway if you want to be wife ready. If you're a free spirit and you just kind of like being out there, that's fine, but that's not the type of quality that men look for in wives. And since we are the Wives Club, we want to help you get relationship ready. Love to know what you all think about A in the chat, appearance. Feel free to chime in. Lisa says absolutely true, and consistency equals stability. I love that. And ladies, we know we are emotional creatures. We know I get excited. Sometimes we get mad. Sometimes we get sad. But men are very stoic. Men have learned that they have to be diligent in what they do. And so the woman that they're looking to choose to be their Mrs. or their, their lady needs to reflect that. So if you are a little bit eccentric,
Always quietly, stealthily watching.
oh my God, I'm sorry, y'all. That was not elegant. Ding! I'm not usually speechless. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm blushing. Okay. You all know him and you love him. Thane Mithra has been a huge advocate of the work that we do. No comment, no question. $200. I'm going to put you in the ticker and I'll drop the link again in case we need another talking to. But yes, I just wanted to know what you all thought about appearance. Um, okay, Lucy, while I update this, any tips that you can give in appearance, and then we'll move on to letter B.
Yes, and culture right now is showing that the more you show, it seems that the more that you get attention. But again, in our environment, modesty is key. You want to be sure that you enhance that those areas that are okay to enhance when you go in the public, that are not going to embarrass your husband if you start showing more skin. So I think that at this point, men are looking for that modesty. Thank you. Oh my God. This is, oh my goodness. The stealth watcher is out there. Thank you so much, Thane Mithra. Thank you so much. And yes, modesty and making sure that you're conscious and be watchful about the way that you move around because again you're representing your husband, your family's name, and you're representing yourself as well.
Absolutely. Well, I've updated the ticker to $400. Thane came back again with $200, laughing his bottom off for Lucy. I'm speechless. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There are no words. I'm just grateful. Okay, so hopefully, ladies, you heard something about appearance. Bia says, let out that gasp. Oh, we got Angelo in the house. Yes, everybody put Thane in the chat. He's coming through and just, I mean, dropping bombs from the bushes, from the planets, from the stars. FemGem says, what happened? I know that Thane happened. So FemGem has a question. Do y'all think any women with different color hair tends to be peculiar in a bad way? Okay, so let's talk about the hair thing. And ladies, this could be hair, this could be nails, this could be anything that makes you uniquely you. Here's the thing. Can you change your hair? Absolutely. Can you experiment with styles and colors? You can do whatever you want. We are just saying, because this is the Wives Club, if you want to be taken seriously for relationship, remember Kevin always used to ask for what outcome? What do you want to happen? If you want to just be free to, whatever the wind blows is what you're doing, that's an option. But don't then complain when a man who is about his business and wants a mature woman who can handle life already does this. So you want to be more on the structured side if you're going to be on his program. So to answer your question, and I'd love to know what y'all think in the chat. I wouldn't say a woman with different hair color is peculiar. The point was about every week or every time it's something different. If you want to change your hair, cut your hair. But people do want to have an expectation of an experience with you. And that's what the personal brand is. How would you answer that one, Lucy?
In addition to that, also, you can change the color of your hair to maybe like a darker brown, a lighter brown. But when you see a grown-up woman with blues, with fuchsias, with greens on their hair, you gotta think the way I think. I always go back to, if my husband was to take me into the boardroom to meet the board of directors, how is that choice going to be looked at by the rest of his peers? How are they going to say, oh, he chose the right one by choosing one that has all the colors of the rainbow? What kind of stability of mental state is she on? So again, yeah, you can be subtle about those changes. It's just those changes that are not, you don't see in nature, you don't see in a woman, you don't see natural blue color, you don't see natural fuchsia color, you don't see natural green color. So it's just, again, on the Wives Club, we believe in tradition, and we are more conservative and not being out there calling attention. Being more reserved is the key.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So hopefully that answers the question, Fem Jim. All right. So thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Let's move on to the second letter. So we're responding to Kevin Samuel's video, Why Does Image Matter So Much? I know we have some men in the chat, so we'd love to hear what you think. Let's move on to B. So he had the A, B, C, D's of image. Excuse me. A was appearance. So hopefully we gave you some tips for that. B is behavior. And ladies, I'm telling you, this right here is where a lot of modern women are lacking. Lucy and I are both immigrants. A lot of this stuff was really just home training, but there is a perception now. I can do what I want. I can say what I want. You know, my truth, I can feel. Nobody is telling you to stifle yourself. But again, if you want to be considered seriously for relationship, for marriage, or for long term, you need to get it together, or as my man says, you need to be ready right now. So behavior, ladies, you need to be being that feminine asset to his masculine brand. You have the keys to the kingdom. You know where all the bodies are buried. You need to be able to be almost like his proxy if needed. And so if you're acting in a way that's going to bring shame, that's going to bring embarrassment, if you get sloppy drunk, if you're, if you're a little too, flirty, if you are conducting yourself in a way that I would say his mother would not approve, and my man said, or his boss. This is important when you're with a man who's on his purpose. If you know anything about Kevin Samuels, he talked about that being useful to the group, and the group matters to men. And so what you do affects him. So again, if you're doing your own thing, that's always an option. But remember this, ladies, men are always watching clearly, and they're watching long before they say anything or do anything. And a lot of times women mistake, oh, I'll get on the program when, I'll be submissive when. The problem is you may have already counted yourself out because he saw you from afar all over the place and said, nah, that's not what I want to do. Know this, ladies. A man does not want to have to get you up to speed. He needs to see you already there, and then you just fine tune a few things for him. So hopefully that helps with behavior. Lucy, what would you say about B?
Very well put. Also, on the behavior side is part of the respect, and respect for who he is, and what you are as a couple or as a family. It's also part of the protection side, because if your behavior changes when he's not around, who will be protecting you? At least when he's around, hopefully you won't be doing chaotic things, but at least when he's around, he has the capacity to protect you. But he has to have that confidence that you will be behaving the right way, so he won't be getting a phone call about you being taken away, with a group of women that were acting differently because you got together on a girls' night out, and you did things, and you were part of a group that were creating chaos. So again, behavior is really important as part of your safety, is part of how you show respect for him, whether he's around or not. So behavior is one key thing.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to come to see what you all say in the chat. I just want to respond to what Lucy said about going out with your friends. So, ladies, we always like to give you tangible tips here. If you want to be considered for relationship and long term, and you have friends that do not support that goal or allow you to get wild and rowdy and loose, not only should you, but you need to remove yourself from those friends and try to find other ladies. We're here for you in the Wives Club that support marriage and long term and know how to conduct themselves as wives. You're not going to be able to straddle the fence on this one. You're not going to be able to go out to other countries and have these wild experiences and then come here and be buttoned up. Again, back to that consistency, not only in your appearance, but your behavior as well, because people talk, men are watching. So Thane was talking about the hair. He says flaming luminous green is not edgy. Yeah, ladies, we got a little harsh on the last one, but Lucy is right. If you take any etiquette training, any elegance training, the closer you are to natural colors, colors that naturally appear, whether it's in your clothes or in your hair or whatnot, it just is more refined and more elegant. So you wouldn't want to wear neon pink on you. Likewise, you wouldn't want to have it in your hair. So, of course, you can color your hair, but just be mindful. Lisa says too much alcohol is no excuse. Yes, I know this about myself. I am a lightweight. I can do one drink with a meal, preferably a wine or a cocktail, and that is it. And I know that. So, because of that, I stay within my limits. I can relax and have a good time. I don't touch the fence. I don't test it. I don't say, "Oh, let me see how many shots I can have." It's not attractive. It's not becoming. So you need to know that about yourself. Do you have a potty mouth? Do you drink too much? Do you overindulge in other areas? That self-awareness is really, really key. And I'm thinking about a way, ladies, we've got to be able to assess ourselves honestly. And the things that you have, okay, I'm good in this area. The things that you work on, we're coming up on a new year, be intentional and committed to getting them right. Thane is talking about that disrespect. Lucy talked about that. How you behave when you're with your man and when you're not with your man shows how much you respect him. And ladies, respect matters more to men than love. Respect to them is love. All right. Let's see what else you all say here. Yeah, Double C says accountability goes a long way. And Smokey J, shout out to the men. He says, always, we are watching how you respond to different situations. Absolutely. And how aggressive women drive. Yeah, femininity is a lifestyle. Being impatient, that's one thing I had to learn. Elegance is not rushed. And I'm a kind of a busybody. And so for me, like I don't have a problem with alcohol or with swearing, but I know I really have to slow down to be more methodical in how I operate, because I can kind of be like a bull in a china shop. So that's what I've had to work on. But everybody is different. Yes, and profanity is a no-no, ladies, and it's very masculine. Thane says tact when conversating and when to pick your battles. Well, yeah, ideally you don't pick any battles. There's an elegant way to have a disagreement. Any other tangible tips on B before we move on, Lucy?
I think we're good.
Okay. So let's move on to C. So we have the ABCDs of image. And again, this is from Kevin Samuel's episode, Why Does Image Matter So Much? Even though he was talking to the men, we can always learn. C is communication. Ladies, communication is, I think it's becoming a lost art. It is so important, not only how we speak, how we write, I would say even, like what we post, but the way that we communicate. And communication can be in so many forms. Your eye contact. Are you distracted when someone's talking to you, when your man is talking to you? Is this you? Or do you give him the attention that he deserves? And if you're with a man that you don't feel like deserves your attention, why are you with him? I would offer that. So, communication, this is an area that you want to assess. It says something about your image. When you walk into a party, one of the etiquette teachers that I follow says there are two types of people. One who walks into a party and says, "Here I am," and the other one that walks into a party and says, "There you are." So is it all about you? Are you the loudest one in the room? Do you interrupt people? Do you, use broken language when you speak, when you write? The good news is these are all skills that you can improve, but you have to know where you stand first. And I'll give you a tangible tip: recording yourself, ladies. And it doesn't have to be in a public platform like we do. Just use your phone. Speak for about a minute on a subject that you're comfortable with and watch it back. And if you can't stand to watch yourself, do an audio recording. Listen to how you communicate. It is something that can be improved, but you need to be intentional about it because it is part of your image. Lucy, what would you say about communication?
In addition to that, body language is part of your communication. If you are thinking about maybe calling the attention of a man, the last thing you want to do is to be the loud one and the chaotic one. Men are attracted to the quiet one that's just sitting there and just observing. That's the one that I guarantee you, if you're in a group of women and you're the quiet one, you're going to be the one that 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 man that's looking for that woman is going to look at, and he's going to say, that's the one. That's the one that when the rest of the women are away, I'm going to come by and approach her. And you have to make yourself approachable. A smile. That thing about always having that angry, just I don't want to deal with anybody face is not good for anything. In fact, if you walk around with a smile, you won't believe how many people are going to be willing to do anything for you to help you. That chivalry that some women say it's gone, it's not. I can tell you at 57, I still have men, young men that open the door for me and are so happy to do it because you know what? You acknowledge, thank you so much. Chivalry's not dead, and you smile and and it's just a good thing to acknowledge somebody that did something good for you. So again, your body language is part of that communication. Profanity. There's no need to use profanity when you speak to people. What is I mean, that is a masculine trait. That is something that if you have it, maybe it should be your New Year's resolution. Use less profanity. Um, and again, and for me, what Maggie said about recording yourself, because I'm an introvert and I don't speak much. I write better than I speak. That's one of the reasons that I did my YouTube, because I wanted to see myself and try to improve on my speaking abilities, because I know that that's a skill that needs a lot of work for me. And with Maggie next to me, who is a pro speaker, I learn a lot. But it's something that for me, I'm very self-conscious about how I say things, because again, English is my second language. So it's an additional challenge that I need to work with. But the more you practice, the better you get at it.
Well said. And I say, Lucy, I think your conversation and your communication is excellent. I learned from you as well. But the takeaway, ladies, is that this is a skill, which means it can be improved. So, no more excuses. You know, Kevin was big on accountability. I saw that in the chat. After 18, ladies, it's on us. And if you didn't get this at home, I remember, I mean, my parents are immigrants. I grew up in academia. And so I was corrected a lot with my speech growing up. If I came home and I picked up some of that slang at school and I used to say stuff to my parents, Nana and Papa were not having it. Thane says, sisters today call men bruh instead of sir. I have no words. I have heard some of the most vile things that women just say just as regular speech. And ladies, I know, sometimes you may, but that is the exception. It's not the rule. Profanity has become so commonplace now. And I'll tell you, if you're interested in etiquette and elegance, profanity is actually looked at. Not only is it masculine, but it makes you look less intelligent because your choice of words is so limited that you resort to easy swear words to express yourself as opposed to maybe reading more. There used to be there dictionary apps that give you a word of the day, listening to podcasts, audiobooks. You can take in things that help you learn other ways of speaking if this is a struggle for you. So by all means, this is something that you can improve. So I see you, Fem Gem, in the back. Let's get to the last one, D. And then we will bring you up. So yeah, Smokey J says, that's right, Lucy. So that communication, and I love what Lucy said, body language, eye contact, so much of it is important. And the good news is you can work on it. Okay. So the last one in Kevin's four pillars of image, A was appearance, B was behavior, C is communication, and then D, for all of us in this modern world, digital footprint. Ladies, coming from a time back in 1842 when we didn't have the internet, I'm kidding, but those of us who grew up in a time when the internet wasn't around, you had second chance. We've all made mistakes. But unfortunately or fortunately, however you look at it, the internet is forever. And everywhere we go now, people have these out and they're recording. And being a mom, I raise the boys to know once you step out of the house, you are basically on display. Even in the home, people have cameras in their homes and around their homes. So that digital footprint, that social media presence, ladies, it is not for you to air your dirty laundry. Thane talked about picking battles. It is not for you to go on the attack, be a keyboard warrior. There are so many things that people wish they could unpost, take back, delete, scrub. Once you put it out there, it is out there. So really think about that unless you want your mother, his boss, and everybody in your church group to know. It's just not worth it, ladies. If you need to have a conversation with someone, have a conversation with them. Have it privately. Everything isn't for public consumption. And part of being an elegant woman and being considered to be a wife is discretion. And you have to be able to be discreet. What would you say about D, Lucy?
Absolutely. Social media has allowed, okay, as women, we are from beginning, we are chaotic. Our emotions take over, and then logic goes away in many instances. So social media has allowed maybe women that do not have that emotional capacity fully developed to share, to air all their grievances on TikTok and everywhere else. Unfortunately, these young ladies are also generally will also want to be married and have a family. Do you think those men that are looking at that ranting and that spilling of how your date was, they're gonna think that you have any kind of idea of what discretion is when when you're sharing all of those intimate personal situations with the world. So just be careful. Another thing that it's becoming more the thing to do with young girls is to open an OnlyFans account to show your bodies to the world. And then when you're 30, you think that the right man is going to come to you without knowing that history. That is something so important to keep yourself, your presence, who you are, as pristine as possible. Because again, as the men in this chat have said, they are watching and they don't forget that print is there and is going to be there for many, many years on. So if you think that, oh, it's okay, it's going to be for the first 2 years that I'm going to be showing myself on Instagram and all of these things the wrong way, it's going to come back to you. I promise you. So digital footprint is really important to be very discreet on, and just to use it for business and to think things that are going to build you up as a person.
Absolutely. So, ladies, are we saying no social media? No, the internet is great. We're on the internet right now. It can be a very useful tool, but like anything that has two sides, um, it can be a very dangerous place if you don't use it wisely. What does Lisa say? And then I'm going to bring you up, Fem Gems. I think that includes emails and text messages that can be shared to others. When a serious conversation needs to happen, it needs to be face to face, 100%. Ladies, I'm telling you, it shows a sign of maturity. We see that all here in social media. Very rarely do people have in-person conversations. They wait to tell you what they think in the comments. It is not becoming. So yes, if you need to have a conversation with someone, ask when is a good time and have that conversation away from the public. All right, so I see Fem Gems for you in the back. I am going to bring you up. Hello, hello. How are you? You asked us to cover this episode. I'd love to hear what you think.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Good, good. Thank you so much for doing this for me. I am so grateful for you. I love you so much, Maggie. Like, I love the panel. I love the former, the current, and the future wives so much. I'm so glad you brought this to, YouTube for us so, so much. And hi, Lucy. You're so beautiful. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Both of you guys are so beautiful. So what was I gonna say? Thank you for this. And what I wanted to say was that I think that oftentimes that we do take our image so lightly as women, even myself. And I had, I guess, a couple questions I wanted to ask you both. One of my question is, how do we get to a place when you're navigating you know, doing life, work life balance, how do we get to a place when you're trying to manage your health and fitness and how do you bring forth a better appearance? Because I'm so quick to put on like sweatpants and hoodies and I'm super active. And how do I balance that in which I bring forth both like looking softer and feminine, but also be able to maintain and prioritize my health and fitness? Does this make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. So I'll take a stab at answering and then I'll bring Lucy up to do the same. Yes, and even today I put a little jacket on. I wish I had a nice dress on, but you absolutely can wear the clothes that are appropriate to the occasion. So one of the things that we did is in some of the work that we've done was to bring a stylist in. And one of the first things I had to hire one because this is an area I struggle with. I can get into that. It's comfortable. I'm just going to throw it on. I'm home. But when you step outside of your home, even when you're lounging at home, you want to show up as the best version of yourself. So, yes, when you're exercising or en route to the gym or back, of course, you may have on exercise clothes. Now, I would argue they need to be exercise clothes that allow you to do the workout that you're doing, but still be relatively modest. We all have seen some of the stuff that women wear in jeans. If you're going to run a quick errand, maybe a jacket or something over it. But what you want to avoid is that when we talk about your capsule wardrobe or your uniform, are you always in sweats? Are you always in, stretchy leggings? That kind of speaks to a little bit of, I don't want to use the word, but it's true, laziness. I'll raise my hand there. It's clean, it's comfortable, it's stretchy. So you think about, and I am going to ask you, FemGem, a little bit about your, age, location, and your relationship, what you're looking for. But like they tell us in corporate, you want to dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. So if I want to be an executive or VP or C level, this would not be appropriate for work. So that would be my answer to that question. Lucy, I'll bring you up. What would you say?
Oh my goodness. Right now, I love what you're wearing. You look so cute, adorable. One of the things that I would say is that to always have in your car like a jacket, even if you're wearing that leisure, hoodie type thing, you can have a just a monotone leisure type outfit, but then always if you're going to be going to somebody that require somewhere that requires a little more dressing up, just grab the jacket and put it on. Even with your hoodie, it'll look good. Also, the way that maybe your makeup, the way that that you apply your makeup, of course it's always situational, but chapsticks, or maybe just like a lip oil, and maybe your cheeks to have a little bit of color, just your hair to always be done, not have crazy hair, because it frames your face. So I think that you can be prepared, you can have that leisurely type outerwear, have a jacket or something that would dress it up a little bit.
I absolutely love that. All right, Fem Gems, was that helpful for you?
Absolutely. I apologize. I always usually introduce myself. My apologies. I'm so sorry about that.
Go
But
ahead and tell us who you are and maybe the part of the country you're in, and are you a former, current, or future wife?
thank you for the compliment, Lucy. And I am Fem Gems. I am a 25 years old. I just turned 25 years old, marriage-minded young lady. I am in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm from Hammond, Indiana. I was raised by a single, strong Black man father. I am a twin. I have 6 siblings. And what else? What else? I desire a quality Black brother. I love Black men so much. And how did I arrive to this point? Just like you talk about, Maggie, is like how you had that modern mindset. I started this journey back in 2020 when I was at my worst. I sometimes try not to talk so much because people be like, I talk too much. So, anyway, being introduced to people like Kevin Samuels and Red Pill content like Chantel and Danica and Six and all that, has helped me so much to navigate and awaken the lady in me. Um, I would say I've always been a feminine young woman, but I feel like I had lost my way, like how Miss Crimson talks about we were in the boneyard and stuff like that. So like I kind of feel like I lost my way being inundated by certain things, and just like how society kind of program us. And I think it's so important as women that we have to reclaim ourselves and not be corrupted by so much of the stuff that they want us to be lost in. So yes, I'm very marriage minded. I've been on this journey since I was 21, 20, 21. Yeah, and I'm 25 years old now. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be around women that I want to be more like or emulate, and to just be a better example and change the paradigm for my generation. And okay, I think I'm talking too much. So yeah. Yeah.
You are adorable. Let me just first say how proud I am of you to be 25. And lady, and the fact that you've been conscious about, being the best version of yourself since you were 21, my hat's off to you. I do consults outside of YouTube, and I can't tell you how many women come to me in their 30s and 40s after they've either given their life to career or, worse yet, as Kevin would say, the carousel. And now their hair is on fire and they're looking for someone to rescue them from themselves. So I commend you. I was married at 25. I usually say this, but for anybody new, I met my ex-husband at 18. He was my college boyfriend. I married right after college at 25. It's not too young. Absolutely loved being married. But I always say, I got caught up in some of that modern woman, we can do anything men can do. And after 10 years, it ended in divorce. We have 2 children from divorce that we co-parent really well. And since then, my second relationship with a 1% man, coming up on 14 years now, which has required me to get on the program, but I've never been happier, and that's what I want to share. So yes, absolutely. You making this a priority is the first step. That means your behavior will follow your intention. So if you are marriage minded and at 25, and I think you're adorable and cute, and I think very well spoken, I would just work on, if you want a little bit of feedback, I do this too. Talking with our hands. Sometimes when we get really excited, one of the things that I do, I love to give you all some tangible things. Oftentimes I hold my hands underneath the counter where I'm at, or I see you're taking notes, maybe you have a pencil or something, but sometimes that helps with that nervous energy. You can absolutely use your hands to make a point, but if you ever watch me, I kind of get myself together and it kind of centers me, because I can also get really excited. And then also, when you're talking to men, eye contact. Sometimes, it's a little bit of a nervous thing we do when we're looking all around, but these are little things that you can tweak and you can practice. But it sounds like you are looking to be selected by a young, well, not young, but I'll ask you for your desires to be a wife. What do you think about, or what would you love to be? What kind of wife would you love to be? I'd love to know.
This is so thank you for that advice, and I really appreciate the constructive criticisms. Criticisms. But for me, I'm constantly like thinking about that, like in terms of like long term. But for me, I would say I want to be a supportive, like complimentary woman to my husband. I want to help build with a Black man. I want to maximize what he and expand what he already has. But I don't fear working hard and building alongside with a man, and like also putting forth the energy and the effort that it's going to require, because I am conscientious that if I want to build with a Black man, I know that's going to take both of us to pull that together. A lot of us didn't come from having trust funds and resources. So it's going to take a lot of grit, and it's not going to be glamorous, but I do think it's going to be worthwhile and beautiful in the end. So just a really traditional, strong, masculine Black man in which I can be a traditional woman, but also I know we try to talk about how, men don't want women that are going to like build or be driven in a certain way, but I think in a complimentary way, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to take away or emasculate, but also like or mother him, but like help him in what's the word? It's
Helpmate.
needs without just what am I looking for? I'm sorry.
That's
But
okay. Sounds like you want to be a
whatever the need of being requires, I want to offer that. You get what I'm saying?
I do. No, you're totally fine. Sounds like you want to be a helpmate to a
Yes.
masculine man. All right. So let's see what they're saying in the chat. Angelo says, when it's difficult to do, reflect on your desired outcomes. The more covenants and promises you keep with yourself, the stronger your relationship with yourself and others will become. So Angelo is very uh, descriptive. What I read when I hear that is make a decision and stick to it and make that commitment to yourself. Did you have any other questions for me and Lucy? Any, as we wrap up, anything else from the episode that stood out to you or anything else you wanted to share?
Yes, you made a comment earlier and how we need to communicate on the acronym communication. How do I get to a place? How do I get to a place in which I don't, when I communicate to my man, how do I give him the utmost respect and not take the low blows? Because I always want to revere and respect my man, even in the and when we're confronted with disagreements or contention points. How do I get to that place where I'm not like I don't think I'm a conversation bully. Like I'd never interrupt my man when I speak. I don't have a man, but like it's a skill set I've been working on over the years. So how do I get to that place where I revere him the most and not uh, disrespect or slander him anyway? Does that
Does
make
that
sense?
make sense? It does. So let me give you some more feedback. All right. And then we'll let Lucy add, and then we will wrap it up. Okay. In conversation, another thing, slow down, because I know I'm a girl too. And one of the things my etiquette teacher told me, Margaret, when it seems slow to you, it's perfectly fine for everyone else. She's English, right? So you want to make sure disagreements happen. Ladies, we're not asking you to be robots. Sometimes you are going to have a difficult conversation. And I talk about this in my communication class. I'll give you some tangible things. Number one, make sure that you are at a place where you're not having an emotional response or an emotional conversation. Even when we get really excited, if we get really mad or get really sad, know that about yourself. One of the things that I do is I may withdraw and I'll say, I need to get myself together. I kind of time box it. Give me 5 minutes, 20 minutes, need to take a bath, take a nap, whatever it is, and make sure you are at a place where you can have a coherent conversation. Likewise, make sure your man is well rested, well fed. Part of what we have to do as women is study our men. Kevin Samuels often talked about that. So you need to know his routine. Is he fresh first thing in the morning, or does he need to wind down at the end of the day and relax? Make sure you've done everything you can so that he is not. I remember when we were coming up, like when my dad would come through the door, me and my brother, dad. My mom was like, let him be. He needs to come down, change, relax, and then we could have our time. So make sure you and him are both in a good place. Then I would ask, is this a good time to have a conversation? Blah, blah, blah has been on my mind. And ask first. Don't just go in. Always lead with positive intent. I don't know if you meant to, but when we went to the company Christmas party, you left me there. I didn't know anybody, blah, 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 blah. I would try to time box it and stick to that time, because as women, we can go in with the color commentary, but try and get really to the point of what you're asking for first, and then allow the man to ask you for any details if he needs. It could be something as simple as, oh babe, I didn't know that. Sure, it's not a deal, it's not a problem. And then you're done and dusted. And then lastly, I would say, if you have ideas, try to come with a solution. Don't just say, I don't like this and I don't like that. You know what, babe, it would be great if we could have a date night once a month. I'm making it up. So in order to do that, I will cut back on this part of the budget so we can save for a meal out. Try to come with a solution so you're not just another problem that he has to deal with. So those would be my tips for your communication in a difficult conversation. Lucy, what would you say?
Just a couple of things. Just be aware of what triggers you. If something triggers you, it's because it's something that inside of you that you haven't been able to work with. And maybe that should be something that you should speak to your dad or somebody that could give you counsel on some of those things that make you react the way they do. And also, not everything is for this, not everything is a debate. Not everything requires, babe, this bothered me because this bothered me. Because again, your husband, your future husband, your significant other comes home with a lot in his mind. He has done a lot of work out there. The last thing he wants to hear is just us, because sometimes it sounds like nagging. So pick your battles, pick the important things. If it's something that you truly think needs to be addressed, make sure that, maybe I see that you take notes. You are my girl because I'm a note taker. Write it down and create kind of like an outline of the things that you want to talk about. And you can tell him, you know what, just to make sure that I'm saying the right things, because I'm not I'm not used to wanting to get to a goal in a conversation. This is what I want this conversation to maybe achieve. And then have it be like a friendly type, getting to know our conversational styles. And always think that whatever conversation you're going to have with them, it's always with good intentions. It's never, men do not say things because they don't care about you. When men tells you something, it's because they care for you, because they know that it's something that requires your attention. So I think that you have the right mindset. I think you're getting very ready to be in a good relationship. I love it. I absolutely love this.
Me too. Well, with that being said, we are going to wrap it up. But Fem Gems, since you asked for this episode and you gotten some tangible tips, I hope from me and Lucy, any final thoughts as we close out?
Thank you so much again for this. I just wanted to say I really appreciate this. I take all the videos and the call-ins I go into and I look back and say, oh, what can I learn from this? It's a challenge. Femininity and womanhood and wifehood. I don't understand how women think they can just jump into this. It takes intentional work and to work on these soft skills. It's hard. But I do desire like the etiquette classes and all of that stuff. So even though I don't have all the resources and money, I definitely seek out the YouTube videos. You made that stream up on with the other wives. I did follow the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So I definitely, you have to be resourceful. Even if you don't have the resources, definitely seek out those things on YouTube. They'll help you and develop you if you apply it. And definitely, I definitely don't avert my eyes. I'm just getting used to doing these streams because I'm trying to get better at my public speaking. It's a vision of mine. So definitely, I'm going to take all of these gems and just be better as a young lady and a future wife to my husband in a year from now, maybe you'll see a difference in me, and we'll continue to network and grow together. And I appreciate she raised me up and teach me all the things I need to be a brilliant, elegant young lady. Thank you so much. I love y'all.
You are so welcome, Fem Gems and gentlemen. You see her. She is here. She is definitely eager and willing, and I would say coachable. And I will just say this shout out to the finishing school. We have a new session starting January 6th. We still have the Black Friday, all one word, discount code for 50% off for just a couple more days. It will end December 31st and it can be gifted. So you can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com if anyone would like to sponsor Fem Gems. Lucy and I teach an 8-week finishing school where we cover everything elegance, femininity, and etiquette. So just wanted to put that out there. Lucy, any final words as we close out?
I think this is, see, to me, there is hope. Sometimes we see all of these things in social media that young girls are not listening. This is a representation of the younger generation that does want to learn, that is willing to be coached and is willing to learn and make it's part of their self-development. I love it.
All right. Well, on that note, Angela says wanting to get to be a goal in the conversation is powerful. Absolutely. All right. So, Fem Gems, I'm going to drop you down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is this week's episode of the Wives Club. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, the Wives Club is here for you every Friday. We respond to Kevin Samuel's content, and we are here for former, current, and like Fem Gems, a future wife. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you, thank you, thank you, Thane. 200 for me and 200 for Lucy. I have no words. So incredibly grateful. Wherever you are, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope you have a good night.
Adios.